The hell's that for waggle, you piece? Swear, man, next time. Hey, listen up, goddammit. This is the Iced Ravioli with Gallus Gee, who is me. Welcome. Unlike an STD, this is fun to look at. Now, last time we met, I discussed how old arcade games were getting ported to the newer consoles. However, what I didn't mention is that old arcades being ported to consoles is actually not a brand new thing. It's been going on since the days of the Atari 2600 back in the early 80s. The process, if you will, hit its peak during the third and fourth generations of gaming. You lost? Now, the third generation of gaming consisted of the Nintendo and the Sega Master System, and the fourth generation was the epic battle between the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. But back to the topic. It was an odd transition when arcade games were ported over to the home consoles. The arcade graphics back in those days were way ahead of the consoles that we had at home. So certain things would happen when they were ported over. They would have familiar gameplay but completely different graphics, or maybe the gameplay would be dumbed down a little bit and the graphics would be lower resolution. We'd rarely know how they would turn up. Now, as odd as the process was one of the multitude of reasons that made going to the arcade so much fun. Because it was sort of like playing the demos of the games. Even though we knew that the game would not turn out the same way, it was still good times. While we'd usually eat these ports up when they were released, there were a few that happened to slip underneath the radar. One of which is a game I've played for most of my life, which will be discussed in this episode's edition of the RetroNomikon. Now I figure since I'm going to be discussing this game, I'm going to discuss it the way I played it as a wee one. Jackal was a shooter released for the Nintendo back in 1988 by the legendary Konami. Konami could do no wrong back in that era of gaming. Now, as I said, this was a shooter, but it had a little bit of a twist. You drove around in a Jeep, instead of being an action hero, as was the norm in the genre. The plot is that satellites have discovered American POWs located in Vietnam camps. And your Jeep squad, codenamed Jackal, is sent in to go and get those guys out. Not special ops, not one of the many military outfits, hell, not even Rambo. A damn Jeep squad. The Jeep squad was broken up into pairs, and in each pair there was a professional driver and had a turret on the back of it that was controlled by honored sharpshooters that only shoots explosives, and a gun that only shoots north. That right there is an idea that still baffles my mind to this day. Bad gameplay choice? Hell no. Genius. Now, the goal in every mission is to rescue every single POW in a hut or in a shack, as well as killing every single thing that comes in your way. Whether it's grunts, tanks, boats, turrets, statues, mines, columns, rocks, flamethrowers, etc. The game is comprised of 6 brutal levels that all end with the boss, and now, just like any great game, this bad boy has 2-player co-op. And as you can hear right now, Jackal has one of the greatest and most underappreciated soundtracks ever in gaming. The songs are all militant crap. I absolutely love it. Now, to bring Jackal into this era of gaming, there's only one way that they need to go about this, and that is a 3D revival. Not like Golden Axe Beast Rider, but excellent, badass, and explosive. Now, Konami's been mighty lazy as of late, and they've mostly just been focusing on their classic series like Contra, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. Konami, you gave away your long Ninja Turtles license to Ubisoft, who's doing a shit-standing job with it. So that's about you guys fill that gap by bringing back Jackal. It'd be very easy for them to bollocks this up, but they need to focus on some things so that does not happen. We gotta start with the plot. The plot for this game is excellent. It doesn't really need to be changed, but it just needs to be fleshed out a little bit more. It's still confusing as hell as to why on earth the president would send in a frickin' Jeep squad as the first line of attack to go and rescue POWs in Vietnam. Then again, it was the 80s and just about anything could happen. One of the reasons I thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was a god when I was a kid, and I still do. What needs to happen is a rescue squad needs to go in first and fail. So this way, the Jeep squad's the second line. Still doesn't make sense, but the hell with it. You get the Jeep squad over there and get this game going. Now, the main goals of the original game needs to stay, like rescuing the POWs, killing everything in your way, and surviving till the end of the level. There should be extra goals added to this game, like blowing up some building that has important Vietnamese military guys and their plans, or destroying certain vehicles so that they can't transport drugs or weapons. And you get more points for how much destruction is caused. Now, one thing I felt was missing, where you were just getting the POWs and getting them out of Nom, basically making Nom the big villain. So there needs to be a big evil power, like some sort of evil dictator. That way there's sort of second goal. We get the POWs out of there, and you want to go and kill that dictator. Now in the original, there were 4 main characters. For the shooters, Colonel Decker, who was the commander of the operation, Lieutenant Bob, who was the best sharpshooter in the Green Beret. Then you had your 2 drivers, Sergeant Quint, a former IndyCar driver turned mercenary, and Corporal Gray, the best stunt driver in the world. With these guys, they just gotta be developed a little bit more and have some banter. You know, you gotta have the goofy guy, the serious guy, the normal guy, and the militant guy. In addition to those 4, I feel there should be 2 more people added to the squad. A chick, and there needs to be an 80s action hero type. It's another thing. Let's keep this set in the 80s. Now let's move up to the meats and the potes. Gameplay. One thing that developers seem to like to do when they bring their games into a new generation of consoles is it seems like they kind of like to forget what game they're making. They throw in a bunch of crap that doesn't fit with the game. For instance, Star Fox Assault, they decided to make half the game on foot missions. And I sure was looking for that in a Star Fox game. And with Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. Don't y'all remember all those vehicles we did not drive in the original games? My point is, this is Jackal, where you're part of a Jeep squad. So you stay in the damn Jeep, don't get out of it. It's simple. And also keep it 2-player co-op. Another aspect that needs additions is within the weapons. Now for the gun part of the turret, they need to add a flamethrower or shotgun type, and seeing as how it's a Konami game, they need to throw in the damn spreader. And an obvious addition to the game, you need to be able to fire in any direction you damn well please. Originally, for explosives, you had grenades, a rocket that would explode in 2 directions, and a rocket that would explode in 4 directions. They need to add mines, napalm, homing rockets, and a multiple rocket launcher type. Now, how would these weapons be obtained? By crates, grunts, and opposing vehicles. And finally, for the big feast, I like to say, what system would this be for, and how would it be controlled? I wasted a whole lot of paper and 1 whole night of sleep trying to figure out what system this could be for. What I've concluded is that this game would best fit on the Wii. I know, I desperately wanted this to be on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I thought I was a bit loco myself. Hear me out. You have to drive the Jeep controllably and fire your turret that's on the back of the Jeep. An aspect that never really controls all that well with this controller. I mean, look at this. You gotta drive, which automatically makes the left and right trigger brake and accelerate. Then you got the left analog stick for turning and the right one for aiming. So what do you press to fire? A bumper? Hell no. While graphics on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 are better, the gameplay would work better on account of the sensor of the Wii remote. You aim with it while firing your guns with A and explosives with C up here. Looking at the Wii remote, you still got 8 buttons to work with. Also, there's the possible addition of motion. Now with all these extra buttons, there needs to be new abilities for the Jeep. This is what needs to be added. A boost to mow down bunches of grunts and go over jumps, a quick turn that can be used after a specific time to keep up speed while turning, as well as a barrel roll to dodge enemy fire. Now looking at the controller, here's how I feel the controls would work. Up is to change the camera, down is the boost, left and right operates the quick turn. Minus is to switch your guns, and plus is to switch your explosives. 1 is to pause the game, and 2 is to bring up the objectives. Roll the wrist with the nunchuck operates the barrel roll. Now personally, it sounds fantastic, likely because I'm the one that thought of it. Thanks for agreeing. Last but not least, the tunes. The ones in the original just need to be orchestrated and have rock remixes, as well as the addition of new militant ones that fit with the same tone. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks for checking out Iced Ravioli. Cluck cluck, bitches. I'm gonna go scramble some eggs.